Hello students, I'm Aanchal Sharma, your educator for paper 1. So we have been discussing PYQs and the concepts related to it, and today is going to be the last class in which we are going to discuss communication. After that, we are going to discuss environment. So in today's class, we'll be discussing few questions related to the non-verbal communication. So this is the first question. The choice of communication partners is influenced by factors of what? So what is communication? You should know. Why do you communicate with another person? This is the second thing that you should know. Now let me read to you the options. So the A is proximity, utility and loneliness. Then utility, secrecy and dissonance. Then you have secrecy, dissonance and deception. And then you have dissimilarities, dissonance and deviance. So what do you feel? Why do you actually communicate with another person? So do you communicate because there is some conflict between you two? There is some dissonance between you two? You communicate because there is deception being done? So definitely not. There are definitely your utility, your loneliness and your proximity which makes it worthy for being communicated. Right? Or you communicate with another person because you want to maintain a good cordial relationship with them. There is always a proximity. You can use them not in a sense that you cannot, you have to take advantage of them, but you can use their input to construct yourself. So that is utility. So you are using that communication to your benefit, for your benefit, right? So that means you will only communicate when there is proximity, when there is utility, and you also communicate because you feel lonely. So this is communication is basically the one vital thing that everyone does. Communication, as I told you, comes from this Latin word communis. You find something common. When you find something common between whoever you are talking to or whatever you are talking to another person, you do that out of love, affection, out of utility or out of sympathy and loneliness. So there are always feelings involved when you talk or communicate. If not, there is always some work done. So it can be utility. Also, there is proximity. There are relationships created. Now, definitely dissonance or secrecy cannot be the correct answer. So you can clearly strike them down. Also, deception will not be the right answer. So you can again strike this option also. So dissimilarity, if you are not similar, what will be the thing that you will discuss? That means option D would also be would not be the correct answer. Hence, A would be the correct answer. You need close proximity with whomever you are talking to. There should be utility, something of worth, something to gain out of it, and also there is always some loneliness that you want to do away with because you start, and because of that you start communicating. Right? So this was a very easy question. Now let us see this question. Non-verbal communication is what? Is it impractical? Is it indifferent? Is it non-repetitive? And it is subconscious. So what do you think would be correct adjective or correct word that you could use for a non-verbal communication? So first of all, you should know what is non-verbal communication and what is verbal communication. So any communication would involve both the non-verbal part and the verbal part. And according to Mehrabian's model, and this is also your PYQ, you should write it down. According to Mehrabian's model, a more amount of non-verbal communication is present as compared to the verbal communication. So verbal communication is that communication in which words are used, while non-verbal communication is that type of communication in which not only words but your facial expressions, your pitch, your voice modulation, your clothes, your gestures, your timing, and your timings is the study of the chronomics is the study of time. So your timing, your punctuality, the way you dress up, the way you carry yourself, the way you do your hand gestures, all of this clubbed together become the non-verbal communication. This means that the non-verbal communication cannot be impractical. You have to be practical because you have to use the non-verbal communication and verbal communication, and there should be a good sync between them, right? If I say you should go out of my class, so you all know that this is not the gesture to go out, while this is to come, right? So this is to call someone. So all of these things can cause a lot of problem. Hence we can say that there should be a good sync between the verbal and the non-verbal communication. So your non-verbal communication, which holds such an important part, cannot be impractical. So A cannot be the correct answer. Then indifferent. How can one thing be indifferent if it is so important? This means definitely this is an incorrect option. Then non-repetitive. Can you just give gesture or a smile once and you won't repeat it again? This means that the non-verbal type of communication is repetitive in nature. You again and again smile to a person whom you are trying to communicate. So these gestures, these qualities that you have are to be repeated again and again. It is not that you can be shabbily dressed one day but you are only well dressed the other. So you have to repeatedly do those things to make your communication effective. This means it is repetitive in nature and not non-repetitive. Now this becomes the correct answer, which says it is subconscious. So sometimes we see that you do some gestures that are, or you can say some non-verbal communication that is actually done by taking some efforts. It can be a pitch, voice modulation. So paralinguistics, using all these things like pitch, sound, tone, all these things can be mandatory and you can do it consciously. But mostly all these non-verbal gestures or non-verbal communication is basically done in a subconscious manner. You don't even realize, but this plays a major role. So you not only do it consciously, but subconsciously also. This helps you to improve the communication level, right? So this is the right answer. So D becomes the right answer. Communication is an act of giving. It is an act of receiving and sharing of the information. You can use words, you can use gestures, in any way possible. You can use words, you can talk, you can write, you can listen, and you can read as well. So all of this will make your communication. So verbal communication encompasses all the communication using the spoken words or the unspoken words that you can use according to the sign language. But the non-verbal communication is what you are not saying. So non-verbal communication is what is actually being said without using the words. So the tone, the facial expressions, the body language, the hand movements, the eye contact, all of these things play an important role in your communication and they are known as non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication, including all these things, are not only limited to the body language or to the words that you use, but it is many more. It is significant at the subconscious level also. In spite of only using words, all the interaction between the between two people holds this importance of non-verbal communication is seen in each and every type of communication, right? So the way one sits, the way one stands, and the hand gestures, the tone of voice all carry a message. They tell you about the attitude, about the emotions, about the personality of the different person. Hence you can say that this is subconscious. So you don't even realize, but the other person, by your appearance or by the way you dress up, can think a lot about you. So we always say this line and this proverb that a man is known by the shoes he wears. So what is it? Because they will actually look at you and will realize that yes, he is neat and tidy. So all of these things will tell a lot about a person. If you come punctual to the class, if you come on time to every class, the teacher would realize that yes, this person is very dedicated because they come to class on a given time and they are very dedicated. So these are the few things that will pop up in between, and this will add to your character, add to your attitude, and add to the communication that is happening, right? Then another question. Non-verbal communication makes use of what? Non-verbal communication makes use of behavior to generate meaning. B. Emotional meanings. A non-clear system of rules. Verbal fitness or clarity in abstraction. So what do you feel? Which is the thing that the non-verbal communication makes use of? So non-verbal communication makes use of, that is the A part is the correct answer, that is A, B and C. A, B and C, which is A, behavior to generate meanings, then emotional meanings, and then C, that is the non-clear system of rules. Why is D and E not the correct answer? So verbal fitness, so you not always use words, right? So definitely D won't be the correct answer. So wherever you find D, you can strike it out. Then you have clarity in abstraction. So you cannot have always clarity in whatever you are doing. So sometimes all these abstract things are emotions that you cannot have a stimulated structure for. So definitely E won't be the correct answer. That means A, B and C would be the correct answer. Behavior to generate meanings. You are here to generate meanings, and your behavior will tell a lot about your personality. So hence it is a non-verbal communication. There is a non-clear system of rules. This abstract system or this rules that you follow is always for the verbal communication. So you have rules for verbal communication, but when we talk about non-verbal communication, it is always subconscious in nature. So you cannot have rigid rules for that. You go with the flow. You smile when you feel like smiling. No one can tell you about all these things. Hence, there is a non-clear system of rules, and you do it, and this will reflect your personality. Then there is emotional meanings. There is always emotions attached with whatever you are doing. Non-verbal communication holds a lot of significance because of the involvement of emotions, not only words, right? So let us see. Non-verbal communication aids in the establishment and maintenance of interpersonal relationships, whereas verbal communication merely is done for the external events that you want to do. So if you want to maintain a good relationship with someone, it is always the non-verbal aspect that holds the most significance rather than the verbal, because verbal is basically done to meet the external events. Non-verbal communication is a method of conveying information through the behavior without using the words. It includes all the facial expressions, the tone, the pitch, the voice, the gestures, and your kinesthetics. So what is kinesthetics? It is through the body language. So with the help of your body, you communicate a lot of things. What if there is a poetry recitation and one person who's just standing there keeps on fidgeting? So this also tells a lot about the personality of a child. This will say that yes, she or he can be someone who is scared right now. So all of these things, all these body movements will tell a lot. And there is physical distance that will communicate a lot about the other person also. And what is the study of this physical distance? This study is called as the proxemics. So you should know few words like proxemics, haptics, chronemics. All these things are important. So what is proxemics? Proxemics is basically the study of the spatial distance, of how much distance you should have when you are communicating with someone else. But your haptics is something that is the study of the touch. How you can see that this touch is a good touch and this another touch is an uncordial or a bad touch to you. All of these things will tell a lot about another person, right? The non-verbal communication is important in our lives because it improves a person's capacity to relate, to participate, and to form a meaningful interaction in your daily life. So in your daily life, if you want to maintain a good cordial relationship, amiable relationship with another person, it is always the non-verbal aspect that will win. So the people may create deeper relationships with other person if they have better knowledge of how to communicate using the non-verbal aspect. There is no such official guidelines or rules to use the non-verbal communication. Hence, ABC became our right answer, right? This becomes the right answer. Then, let us discuss further about the non-verbal communication. So, non-verbal communication can be the study of touch. So, take an example that there is a stranger just sitting next to you and they touch you, right? Or you already know that this touch is an unwelcome touch. So this is how your body or your senses would tell a lot about another person. Hence, you will stop communicating to that person who is sitting there or to the persons who are sitting there, and you would leave. you would also see how much they are getting involved in the conversation, and this can also tell a lot. Right? Then you have gestures. So we all have particular gestures that tell a lot. While talking also, my hands would move, and these are the different gestures that will always come into play. So you can remember that whenever we had this poetry recitation in our schools, we used to move our hands. There used to be two things that our teacher used to tell us. One, you should have facial expressions, and then gestures, and also voice modulation. So maybe three. So these three things became important. Why? Because this will make you someone who actually communicates and someone who is confident while communicating also. So all of these aspects like gestures and facial expressions and voice modulation would portray that you are confident and you know your poetry, and you're actually reciting it from your heart, right? So all these gestures come into play. Also come, go, stop, wait, and all these things, we use gestures to communicate these small things. So gestures play a major role. Then we have proxemics. So proxemics, as I told you, is the study of the spatial difference. So we know that the strangers are to be at this, should be this away from us when we are trying to communicate another person. While maybe if they are this close to us, this is only a space of an intimate person, and you know your parents or your spouse or another person whom you're attached to can only come into this space. This is your personal space. So whenever you are talking, you maintain a distance with another person, and the other person should also know how to create this kind of space. Otherwise, there are always discomfort that is created. Then there is facial expressions, so smile, and when you are angry, so frowning, and all of these things are small gestures that tell a lot about the communication that is happening. So if you are angry at another person, you know that when you keep quiet, you know that the other person is talking something that is not important, and other person can also get to know that you're not interested in that conversation, while smile will tell that you are very welcome, right? Then there is the paralinguistics. So paralinguistics is the tone, the pitch, all the fillers that you use. So if you are very anxious about something, you use a lot of times. So this is the filler that you use because you are shy, right? So these are the few paralinguistics that you can use. Then there is body language. If take example, if there is one person who keeps on slouching and sitting in my class, so I would definitely understand that he is very shabby and he is not dedicated, he is a very passive listener, he is not attentive in my class. So body language, the posture of the child would tell me a lot about that person. Then there is appearance. So we always like the person who is very nicely dressed rather than the person who is shabbily dressed. So if you're going for an interview, we all know that you're going to wear formals, you're going to wear good clothes so that you look presentable, right? So you'll be having good polished shoes. This will tell a lot about your own personality. Then you have eye contact. Take an example again. If you have this person who is maintaining an eye contact with you while they are talking, while another person who is not maintaining an eye contact, you can easily tell the difference between these two people. So you would like that this person is maintaining an eye contact because this will portray that he or she is very confident. This means eye contact can tell a lot of things. Then there are artifacts. Artifacts can be you visit somewhere and you have a cultural souvenir and you just brought it from there. So all these things will communicate a lot that you are attached to another person. Or maybe one photograph of someone who you really love is sitting right next to your study table. This is what these are artifacts. These are small things that tell a lot about your personality. Also, one thing is silence, not included here, but it is a very important part, and silence says a lot, right? So you don't always have to use words. You can take an example. You are very angry and you are not talking to another person. So this silence would tell a lot of things. Hence, silence is also a non-verbal communication. Now, what is your homework? You have to find out what is the communication or what is the word that you use, that is the study of smells and the study of colors, right? So you have to know these two words now, study of smell and study of colors. Right, now let us read. So facial expressions. Facial expressions are responsible for huge proportion of non-verbal communication. Consider how much information can be conveyed with just a smile or a frown. right? So just with the help of smile, you can please a lot of people. The look on the person's face is often the index to that person's mind, right? So this will tell a lot about the person without even saying it loud. Then there are some gestures. So these deliberate movements and the signals are very important way to communicate what you are doing. Say you can take an example as I've given here, thumbs up. So this is a gesture that you do and this says a lot. So we all know that you are wishing them good luck, or this is thumbs up, right? So these all gestures can be arbitrary and they are always related to the different cultures. So some cultures can wish you namaste in another way, while another can wish you namaste in another manner, right? So according to cultures, your gestures would change, but they hold a lot of importance. Then there is paralinguistics. So paralinguistics refers to all the vocal communication that is separate from the actual language. So you have language, you have words, but this is actually paralinguistics are these are the non-verbal part that will enhance your language. You can say like that. So pitch, voice modulation will say a lot about the confidence of another person. If I keep on talking in just a single, in a simple manner, like you know what, we will do this in the class. Rather than just talking like this, I am talking in a more confident manner by using voice modulation. So this will help you interact with me even better and understand the things better as well. Also, I can emphasize on the few things that are more important rather than just talking in a simple pitch or a plain tone. All these things will help me communicate in a better manner. So rather than using only the actual language, these are the beautiful aesthetics that you use while not even realizing that you are doing it. So this is paralinguistics. These form the non-verbal communication, and these are factors such as the tone of your voice, the loudness, the inflection and the pitch. Then you have body language and gestures. So your posture, your movement can also provide a lot of information. You're sitting with a good posture or a slouch posture will tell a lot. Then we have the proxemics. So people often refer to proxemics as the study of the personal space, and there should be a good amount of personal space. This is known as proxemics. It is a very important form of non-verbal communication. The amount of distance we need and the amount of space we receive as belonging to us is influenced by a lot of factors. Among them is the social norms, the cultural expectations, the situational factors, personality characteristics and the level of familiarity. So that all of these things will determine how much space you require, right? Now this is one diagram and I want you to see. Now there are 4 zones that we have here. This is the first zone, that is an intimate space from 0 to 1.5. Then we have from 1.5 to 4 inches, that is the personal space, and then we have feet, and then we have the personal space. Then we have the social space. Social space is 4 to 11 and 4 to 12, and then we have the public space, that is 12 and beyond. So I would repeat again. Why am I repeating it or reading this? Because this is also a PYQ. So they ask about the different zones once, and also the distance becomes important. So there is always an intimate space. This is a space of your family members or your spouse or the person you love. Then becomes the personal space. This is for your friends. Then there is a social space for any social gathering, and then comes the public space. So it is from 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 4, 4 to 12 and 12 and beyond, right? So you should remember these small details as well, because this is also a PYQ and they asked about the 4 zones and the distance also in the previous exam. Then you have the eye gaze or the eye contact, and this also tells a lot about the person. The eyes play a very important role in the non-verbal communication. With such things as looking, staring, blinking, important cues are given, right? For example, when you encounter people or things that you like, your rate of blinking increases and your pupils dilate, right? So if someone is gazing at you or staring at you, you become uncomfortable. So this is also a way of communicating, that that person is a person I should not talk to. Then there is haptics. Haptics is a study of touch. So the communication through touch is another important non-verbal communication. Touch can be used in a communication to show affection, to show familiarity, sympathy, and other emotions as well. Then there is appearance. So your choice of hairstyle, your choice of clothing, and your appearance are some of the factors that will also influence your non-verbal communication. Research have also said that the color psychology plays a very important role when you're trying to communicate with another person. So you know that red is for love, black is for danger. So we have also associated colors for all of these things. Appearance can also alter your psychological perspective and your reactions, your judgments, and your interpretations about another person. So appearance of one person would say a lot about them. Then there is artifacts. So all these objects and images are the tools that are used to communicate non-verbally. Giving gifts to the person you love is one gesture, artifact that you use to tell them that you like them, you love them, etc. Right? So in an online forum, for example, you might select an avatar to represent your identity. So what is it? You just chose this avatar, this person or this creature, this cartoon looks like me. So what is it? This is an artifact. This is the way of showcasing your emotions. Right? So this is what we had, and we discussed all the non-verbal communication. I would repeat it once again because it is important. They ask questions related to non-verbal communication. They have already asked a lot of statement-wise questions when we talk about the verbal and non-verbal aspects. It should be very clear to you that what is the difference between haptics, what is the difference between chronomics, and what is the study of time, which we have not done here. So if you study about time, that is chronomics, and you have to tell me what is this study of smell and the study of colors as well. So you should know these words because sometimes they can twist the statements just by using some words that you don't know. So in the first question that we discussed, if you don't know the meaning of dissonance, someone can actually mark the wrong answer. So in all the communication questions, I have realized that it is always the play with the words that they keep on doing. So you should read the statements very clearly. This is not a difficult section to solve questions from. So you should know, first of all the minute details. Study this communication topic really well. Also, solving the PYQs would help you a lot here. But let us quickly revise the non-verbal communication here. So, non-verbal communication, as I told you, is a study of touch, haptics. There is silence, then we have gestures, eye movements, facial expressions. There is proxemics, there is facial expressions, there is paralinguistics, body language, appearance, eye contact, gazing, blinking of eyes, all of these things. And then there is artifacts. There is also chronomics, that is the study of time, right? Then you have to write in the comment section the study of smell and the study of colors, right? So I hope I made things clear. All of these things were important. We are done with all the important concepts related to communication. We'll be starting with environment from the next class. I hope you are studying. If not, this is the last, few days are just left. You cannot leave study here. One day of study would leave you, some behind a lot of people. So keep on studying, keep on solving PYQs, keep on revising all the things that we have done in the class, and keep smiling, keep shining. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.